Hello and welcome to Indus News. Live from Islamabad, I'm Naila Shujaa and these are the headlines. India has recorded the world's highest daily coronavirus cases for the fourth consecutive day. The country has reported nearly 350,000 new cases and over 2,000 deaths over the past 24 hours. Pakistan has registered over 5,600 infections and 118 fatalities overnight, with the death toll crossing 17,000. Globally, the new coronavirus has claimed close to 3.1 million people while infecting over 146 million others. At least 27 people have died and 46 others are injured in a fire at a hospital for COVID-19 patients in Iraq's capital, Baghdad. The head of Iraqi Civil Defense Unit says 90 of the 120 people in the Ibn Khatib hospital have been rescued. Reports say an accident caused the oxygen tanks to explode, sparking the blaze. Turkey says it has summoned the U.S. ambassador over President Joe Biden's recognition of the 1915 massacres of Armenians as genocide. In a statement, the foreign ministry said Biden's comments have no legal basis and Ankara condemns it in its strongest terms. Biden is the first U.S. president to formally recognize mass killings of Armenians during the World War I as genocide. China has told the European Union to stop sowing discord in the South China Sea. Talking to the media, a spokesperson for the Chinese mission to the EU said security risks in the South China Sea mainly come from outside the region. This comes after EU's diplomatic service said Chinese vessels in the sea's White Sun Reef endangered regional peace and stability. The Saudi-led coalition says it has destroyed yet another explosive-ridden drone fired towards the kingdom. Houthi military spokesperson Yahya al-Sari says that the claims that the drones hit the intended target, the King Khalid Air Base in Hamas Mushahid City. However, Saudi Arabia has not commented on Houthi claims yet. For more news and details, stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. India has recorded the world's highest daily coronavirus cases for the fourth consecutive day. The country has reported nearly 350,000 new cases and over 2,000 deaths over the past 24 hours. Globally, the new coronavirus has claimed close to 3.1 million people while infecting over 146 million others. More on the pandemic in this report. The second wave of COVID-19 has hit India with a ferocity no other country has seen before. Pakistan has offered to provide relief support to India with ventilators, X-ray machines, protective gear, and other items. Pakistan's Foreign Office said the two countries can also explore ways to cooperate on mitigating the challenges posed by the pandemic. The U.S. says it is deeply concerned by the massive surge in India and will raise additional support to New Delhi and healthcare workers. This comes as oxygen's demand outpaces supply and people continue to die due to shortages, highlighting the crisis faced by the government.
They have no shame at all. Do you know how does a human being dies without oxygen? Have you seen a fish out of water? More than 20 patients have died here suffering just like that. Just like a fish out of water. This is unimaginable. A human being can't even see this sight. They have got no understanding or management.
In Europe, people are getting fed up with new and stricter restrictions. While Germany reported another 120 deaths and nearly 19,000 cases, hundreds took to the streets of Frankfurt denouncing the curfew. Over in the UK, 8 police officers got injured as they dispersed crowds during anti-lockdown protests in central London. The Metropolitan Police said they arrested 5 people for offenses that include assault on officers. An estimated 10,000 people attended the protest against mask wearing, health passports, and vaccinations.
I'm here to stop the tyranny, genocide, control, for children's future, the poisoning from the vaccines, the shedding from the vaccines, which will from the people with the vaccines, who's had the vaccines, to wake people up, to stand in my truth, and stop the corruption.
The situation in Brazil remains grim, as the country registered over 3,000 deaths and more than 71,000 new infections. To add to the misery, an industrial plant dedicated to oxygen packing in Brazil's northeastern region exploded, leaving 4 people injured. Hospitals in Brazil have run out of oxygen, and the federal government had to fly oxygen in tanks across the country. In Pakistan, 118 people have lost their lives to the virus in the past 24 hours. The health ministry says the countrywide death tally has risen to 17,117. The ministry said more than 5,600 people tested positive for the virus overnight. It added more than 795,000 people have been infected so far, whereas nearly 690,000 people have recovered. There are almost 88,700 active cases in the country. Meanwhile, the government has allowed walk-in vaccination facility for citizens aged 60 and above. Pakistan has received 500,000 doses of Sinopharm vaccine from China, while 3 Boeing 777 planes will be bringing 1 million doses of the coronavirus vaccine today. The United Nations Security Council has called on international community to cooperate actively with Pakistan in the fight against terrorism. In a press statement, the Council said terrorism constitutes one of the most serious threats to international peace and security. The 15-member body strongly condemned the terrorist attack in Quetta that left 5 people dead. The members called for bringing the perpetrators to justice. They also expressed their deepest sympathy and condolences to the families of the victims and to the government of Pakistan. Turkey says it has summoned the U.S. ambassador over President Joe Biden's recognition of the 1915 massacres of Armenians as genocide. In a statement, the Foreign Ministry said Biden's comments have no legal basis, and Ankara condemns it to the strongest of terms. It said Biden's statement had caused a wound in ties that will be hard to repair. Earlier, the Foreign Ministry urged the U.S. to correct its mistake. Biden is the first U.S. president to formally recognize mass killings of Armenians during the World War I as genocide. Turkey accepts many Armenians were killed in the clashes with Ottoman forces during World War I, but it contests the figures and denies the killings were systematically orchestrated and constitute as a genocide. The Turkish armed forces have launched a large-scale military operation against militants in northern Iraq. Speaking via video link, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said the operation will promote peace and security in the region. He added that Turkey aims to eliminate the terrorist threat along its southern borders. Erdogan went on to say the operation will be carried out with respect for Iraq's national integrity. Northern Iraq is known for the location for many PKK terrorist hideouts, from where they carry out attacks in Turkey. Ankara holds the Kurdish group responsible for some 40,000 deaths in the 40-year conflict. At least 27 people have died and 46 others are injured in a fire at a hospital for COVID-19 patients in Iraq's capital, Baghdad. Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi has ordered an investigation. In a statement, al-Kadhimi said that such an incident is evidence of negligence. He said hospitals managers and the heads of security and maintenance will be detained until those responsible are identified. The head of the Iraqi Civil Defense Unit says 90 of the 120 people in Ibn Khatib hospital have been rescued. Reports say an accident caused the oxygen tanks to explode, sparking the blaze. Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif is set to visit Iraq and Qatar today to hold talks with senior officials of the two countries. In a statement, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Saeed Khatibzadeh said Zarif will strengthen the bilateral ties. He added that the top Iranian diplomat will be accompanied by a high-level political delegation. The spokesperson said Tehran attaches great significance to maintaining growing relations with regional countries. Khatibzadeh noted that within the visit, bilateral relations and regional talks will be held. In Israeli annexed East Al-Quds, police have scuffled with Palestinians as tensions flared during the Muslim holiday of Ramadan. The Palestinian Red Crescent reported 6 protesters were injured in the clashes. Palestinians say police have tried to prevent them from holding their usual Ramadan evening gatherings. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu chaired an emergency security meeting over the matter with senior Israeli officials. The Prime Minister also warned that Israel remains prepared for all scenarios. Unrest started after far-right Jews clashed with Palestinians, calling for death to Arabs on Thursday. Hamas voiced support for the East Jerusalem protest after the incident. The protest spread to several cities in the West Bank and along the Israel-Gaza border. Myanmar's shadow government of ousted lawmakers has welcomed a call by Southeast Asian leaders for an end to military violence. A parallel national unity government spokesperson said they are looking forward to firm action by ASEAN to follow upon its decisions. The EU has also supported ASEAN's commitment to start an inclusive dialogue to seek a peaceful solution. But people in Myanmar have criticized the deal, saying that it fell short of holding the army accountable for killings. Over 700 people have been killed by security forces in Myanmar since the military seized power in February. China has told the European Union to stop sowing discord in the South China Sea. This comes after the EU said Chinese vessels in the South China Sea's Whitesand Reef endangered regional peace and stability. Talking to the media, the spokesperson for the Chinese mission to the EU said security risks in the South China Sea mainly come from outside the region. The spokesperson said the region must not become a tool for certain countries to contain and suppress China. He termed the reef a part of China's Naxia Island, adding Beijing's activity in the region are reasonable and lawful. The spokesperson urged the EU to respect the efforts of regional stakeholders in maintaining stability in the sea. In Belarus, President Alexander Lukashenko says he will sign a decree allowing the transfer of presidential power to the Belarusian Security Council. State media said the transfer will take place if Lukashenko becomes unable to work as president. Lukashenko said the prime minister will head the Security Council if the president is absent. This comes days after Lukashenko met his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, in Moscow for talks. The meeting prompted opposition fears that Lukashenko may use the talks to trade off sovereignty in return for Moscow's support. Kremlin's backing helped Lukashenko weather the storm when Belarus was rocked by months of mass protests. In Chad, rebels say they are prepared to observe ceasefire after the military said it bombarded them to a verge of despair. Earlier, rebels had vowed to advance on the capital N'Djamena following the funeral of President Idris Deby, who died on the battlefield. In an interview, Front for Change and Concord in Chad's head said that the ceasefire had to be observed by both sides. Mohammed Mahdi Ali said they cannot respect the truce unilaterally and let themselves be massacred. In response, military council spokesperson said they are rebels, which is why the military is bombing them and waging war. Deby's son seized power after his father's death with an aim to oversee an 18-month transition to elections. But rebels said they do not accept any military government. It's now time for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Mexico, scientists have declared the AYOLOCO glacier extinct by placing a symbolic plaque in its place. One of the country's permanent bodies of ice, the glacier was located on the top of the Iztaccíhuatl volcano. Details in this report.
A massive glacial retreat has been globally observed over the past few decades amid the climate crisis. A group of scientists erected a plaque that officially acknowledges the death of the Ayolo Glacier in Mexico that disappeared in 2018. Researchers trekked to the site of the now non-existent ice mass to leave a message for future generations.
The AYOLOCO glacier existed here and it receded until it disappeared in 2018. In the coming decades, the Mexican glaciers will irretrievably disappear. This plaque is to record that we knew what was happening. And what was necessary to do? Only you will know if we did it.
Iztaccíhuatl, which means white women, was named after the Aztecs for the mountain's feminine form and now the snow that covered it. Scientists have pointed to global warming as the chief cause of the disappearance of the glacier.
This plaque is not a plaque of honor. It is a plaque of dishonor, of the shame we feel. We are not talking about the climate change, but the climatic emergency.
Most tropical glaciers like those in Mexico are much smaller than their cousins closer to the poles. Snowfalls are now scarce on the 50 to 100 meter mountain peak, with vegetation growing at ever higher altitudes.
It's now time to take a look at the weather around the world. For the latest news updates, you can follow us on our social media at indus.news.